Okay. If the screen is visible to all of you, student, just let me know with the help of chat box. So I have taken the example of this particular home computer for this particular composition part, where what exactly we have done in the relationship that we have to find the transitive and asymmetry, right? So now let's start with this particular part where we have to understand the superclass or subclass relationship. So we have just to recall the that particular concept basically here, that already we have learned this particular concept, that the top class of the hierarchy is the most the considered as a general class, and from it it decide to the another class. That means it is inherit the properties of the superclass, and that is nothing but the subclass. So subclass are the more specialized version of their superclasses, right? So here I have mentioned one part over here, that which is used for the specification purpose in generalization hierarchy, where how the generalization works, that I have to understand with the help of this diagram. So in this particular part, if I want to understand the shape is what? Shape is basically a superclass which are considered as a parent class, or it is considered as a base class, right? That has a is a kind relationship with their superclass, that is their subclasses basically. So the more specific elements which is to be required for this particular subclass, I can inherit the property of the superclass. So square, circle, and triangle, these are the subclasses which is derived from the shape, which is called as a parent class. Okay, so now that is considered some top-down approach, or you can consider the relationship for the guideline for identifying the super, or you can consider super sub particular relationship for this particular generalization part. Then there is something guideline we have to understand. So what exactly it is? So we have to look for the noun phrases which is composed of various adjectives on the class name. Say for example, I have given one example, or a military articraft, like that, civilian articraft, like that. So that is nothing but the noun phrases, and that gives me the specialization part for the subclasses which have their own significant for that particular behavior. And then afterwards there is one another part also we have to understand, which is nothing but the bottom up. So here we have to consider the classes with the similar attributes and methods, which is considered for which the superclass is a parent class, and from that the subclasses are derived. That is nothing but the group them, or considering that particular common attributes which is to be required, common attributes as well as methods of the superclass. So what exactly we are doing here? We are considering the generalization structure, where we have to understand what are the attributes and methods of the superclass, and where we have to come up with the some possibility. That is nothing but where we have to understand the hierarchy. At the same time, we do not create very specialized classes at the top of the hierarchy, but we have to considering that part where we have to differentiate from superclass to subclass, and this is the balancing act can be achieved through the several iterations, because we have to perform lots of and lots of iteration to perform this task. That means just not a one iteration is required to achieve this particular process, but we want to get a balancing act for considering that, where we have to perform the several iterations to get the relationship, where we have to understand the bottom up approach and top down approach. There is something which is called as a multiple inheritance also. So what exactly the multiple inheritance, which avoids the excessive use over here in the multiple inheritance, because whenever we are doing, or whenever we are designing this particular class diagram, then what exactly the guideline we have to follow, that we have to understand the concept of the generalization over here, where we want to just consider the one class and the another class is inherited the property of the superclass. That's it. The most important part over here that we have to avoid, the excessive use of multiple inheritance in my class diagram. It is also more difficult to understand the programs which to be written in the multiple inheritance system. Basically, that's why we want to avoid this part. So one way to achieve the benefits of multiple inheritance is to inherit from the most appropriate class. That is the most important part, and that is the most important thing we have to consider whenever we are drawing this particular class diagram. And we have to add an object to the other class as an attribute. That is the most important thing. So whenever we are considering the dependency, what exactly we want to understand here, that an operation of a class A needs a parameter of class B. This is actually called as a dependency. That means there is one class A and one class B, where the class A wants some parameters from the class B. So an operator of a class A returns a value of that particular class B. So what exactly it is? It is somewhere it is implementation, right? But not as an attribute over here. That means the operation of class A uses an object of that particular class B, where it is not considering its implementation, but it is considering that particular implementation part, but not as an attribute part. Okay, so that is called as a dependency. So how to represent that in our diagram? So we have to use this particular stereotypes, which is consider that the stereotype is often omitted in this particular diagram. So that is called as a, when we consider dependency, that is to be given by the dash line, which is considered always be having the arrow towards which shows me the dependency of one class into the another class. So here I define one client and supplier example over here, where I am defining the class and I define some methods for the particular class A, and that class uses the another class, right? So that is considered that the use of the dependency of one class into another class. So what are the guidelines over here to identify the attributes of the classes? The first important part is that the phrases we have to use, which is to be required, usually corresponds to the noun, which is followed by the possessive phrases such as cost of the soup, right? If I want to consider that, then what is the phrase over here? Cost, right? So cost of is the phrase over there, which is to be considered as a noun. So keep the classes simple, only state enough attributes to define the object state, and in that particular part I have to understand attributes which is to be less likely to be fully describe the problem statement. Okay, and that has to be drawn on your knowledge, which is to be required for the application domain and the real world to find out them. Okay, so you have to get that particular part within you so that you have to acquire the knowledge. Okay, what exactly I want to omit over here? That omit derived attributes. Basically, say for example, don't use age as an attribute since it can be derived from the date of birth, right? So that is nothing but we have to omit that attribute. So do not carry discovery of attribute to excess. Basically, you can consider that part where we have to, you can always add more attributes in the subsequent iterations. Which are the iterations you are performing, according to that you can add the more attributes also. Now, in the analyzing the UML diagram and the particular use case diagram, we have to consider this sequence diagram. Okay, so already in the sequence diagram can assist us to defining the services that the object must provide. Okay, so in this I have given one example of the bank account where I have to make a transaction through ATM machine, and that is to be considered here. So in the sequence diagram, what is to be required? I have to understand each and every actor now. So that is my first is a bank client, then afterwards ATM machine, then account and checking account. So these are all the main actors. I have to find it out. Then afterwards, what exactly it is to be given, that ATM machine basically it gives a request kind. That means the user person wants to first enter into the ATM machine, and through the ATM card he can able to withdraw, he can able to check the particular balance as well as he can deposit the amount. That's all the things which is to be considered here. But now I have given you the withdrawal position. So what exactly is checking? ATM machine gives a request to the bank client where it is enter that particular part, it is called as the authentication part. After getting the request, it will enter the what is the information is to be required. Say for example, PIN number. Say for example, how much amount you have to withdraw, like that. So it is to be given by that particular part. So ATM machine is the most important aspect. So here that means is the most important actor in front of me, and that particular machine is responsible to perform that task. So after getting the request from the blank client, what exactly it will do? It will enter the credentials, then enter the amount. After getting the request from the amount, it is entering the amount. So amount entering is given to whom? To the bank client. Now what is existing, what is actual processing is to be carried out with the help of account and checking account. So basically what is exactly doing? After entering the amount, it will process to transaction basically. So the account is a user, that is to be most important part comes into the existence, where he can able to withdraw that particular amount for the particular consideration of, here that everything is correct, and now I'm going to withdraw the amount. So checking the amount is the most important part. So here I'm checking the amount for the withdrawal part, where the withdrawal has to be successful and the transaction has to be success, and that is to be given in the form of all these things which you can able to see in this particular diagram. Then that is to be considered, that means the particular actor in the sequence diagram. Basically what exactly I'm following? I'm following the flow of my working. That means every step one by one I'm going to execute. In between that, जैसे हम लोग instructions we are writing in our program, the same way the compiler will start executing one by one, right? Whatever the instruction we are written, it will not jump. If it is written as a jump instructions, or it is depending that go to instruction, then that time it will go to that particular subroutine, perform that task and come back, right? But here it is to be always be given in the sequence. That's why it is called as a sequence diagram. Okay, so here we have to understand each and every flow of my particular system. Then and then only you can able to add that part in this particular sequence diagram. So in the UML diagram for this particular analysis part, that means the most important aspect of the UML is nothing but use cases. After that getting the use cases, what exactly I am performing, that is to be given in the form of sequence. Okay, so that is the most important aspects of my UML. When all the thing is going to be complete, then that is to be given to the that particular part, that the termination has to be carried out from bank client to ATM machine. And then finally what is I'm getting the print receipt of my particular amount withdrawal, and finally I can stop it, right? So this is all the things which I'm performing with the help of sequence. So where exactly I am identifying the methods now. So methods, what exactly it is? So methods usually corresponds to the queries about the attributes of the particular object. So the methods are responsible for managing the value of attributes, such as what exactly I'm doing. I'm performing the query, I'm updating the data, I'm reading the data and writing the data, right? So that is all comes under the methods, which is responsible for managing the value of attributes. So now what exactly comes into the domain modeling? So basically the domain modeling is in this particular part, if I want to construct a model of the real world system, then what is the most important part over here? That I have to understand first the problem statement, or you can consider problem domain. So I can able to construct that model with the help of UML. That is the most important part in the comes under the domain modeling. So model is recorded as a simplified class diagram. So what exactly I am performing here? I'm just representing that problem statement with the help of my diagram, which is nothing but the class diagram. So here we have using a some notations which is used to analyze and for use for the analysis as well as for the designing point of view. And if you consider the design, then it can be evolved from the initial domain model. So that is the most important part we have to understand whenever we are going for the development. So in the domain model notation, what exactly I have to understand for the in the terms of notation? So basically you have already come to know that what is the class is, class name and attributes, methods is to be represent. Then class generalization, I told you that in our I think use case diagram में आपको बताया था कि it should gives me just a minute. In the generalization part, I have given you the example also that what exactly you want to represent in the generalization. So in the generalization, you can represent with the help of this notation. There are some constraints are there, then you have to represent some constraints with the help of this notation. Then if I want to give the association, then it may be multiplicity of that particular association is to be carried out. And then just a minute, student. Okay, so in this particular part, what exactly I want to see here, that I want to understand the basic concept over there. That is nothing but a case study has to be represent for a reservation. It is example I have mentioned for the a customer makes many reservations where I can consider that that means a particular customer wants to make a reservation for a particular hotel. Then what exactly I want to consider here? That means I want to understand the two classes order first, the most important part, and then I have to understand the attributes. And then in this particular part, I have mentioned the table. Okay, so in the table, that tables exist even if there are no reservation. That means places I have represent, but a customer can make a reservation for that particular place according to wish, right? So the table is basically exists, but if it is not you, that means it is not to be considered every time whenever I'm doing the reservation. So that attribute I have to consider in the table, which is nothing but, for example, I have given it a size can be used for storing that particular information, right? So here I can able to consider that place. So the direct relationship is given for the customer to reservation, but here in the table I can make a that relationship which is to be not overlap every time. So the reservation for the same table must not be overlap. So that is the most important thing I have to consider whenever I'm doing the class diagram. So the use of constraint, basically the constraints are what? Not all the domain properties can be shown graphically. So here it should be impossible to make all the things in that particular table. So that we have to make in a constraint. So add information to model. Basically this is nothing but a node, right? So node के लिए जैसे हमने symbol use किया, the same symbol we are using for this constraints also. So connect the model element being constraint. So that is actually the use of constraints over here. Use of generalization. So in the generalization, I already explained this part that what exactly we require for this. That means a superclass can be used to show the properties shared by different types of booking, right? So here the booking is a class which is used for the same table, which is to be considered that which is not to be overlap. Okay. So booking कैसे हो सकता है? Either walk in or either by online. So for the purpose, a customer is a person who is responsible for doing this activity of a booking, where he can book the reservation in the form of two part. One is walk-in part, another is reservation part. So which covers and dates and time that is to be required as attribute for that particular booking. So here the consider the table I am added as places. Okay, so that must not be overlap. So here customer makes a reservation. So one customer, many reservations like that. So I have given the association also. Then correctness. So how do we know when a domain model is complete? That is the most important part, where we have to understand where to stop, right? So there are lots of consider the models which is to be used as a exist, or you can consider the end part of the particular use cases. So domain modeling is not an end itself, but a guide for the further development. That means whatever the domain modeling I am considering with the help of this class diagram, then that is to be considered that which is to be used for further development of my model. So realizing the use case test the domain model and will usually lead to refinements. Basically sometimes it is to be refined. That means sometimes I am giving you instruction in the at the time of practical session that refine this diagram or change this diagram, do this way, like this way. So that is called as a refinement. So sometimes I have to understand realizing part is not every time you are what is you are realizing is a correct, right? Sometimes it will goes into the wrong direction also. So but we have to consider that part whenever we are defining the use cases. So that is the most important part of the domain model, and that we have to understand in the form of correctness. Then what are the supplementary documents we require for this? The common supplementary document we require the glossary, which is considered in the form of what exactly the expectations of my particular problem statement, and the activity diagram. So whenever we are consider the mini dictionary that captures the concepts and vocabulary relevant to the problem domain. That is given me the, that avoids basically the misunderstanding and which is gives me the proper communication, right? And in the activity diagram, basically it is used for the describe the activities. So that is to be required for this particular domain model. So up to this point, any doubt, difficulty, student? Yes. No doubt, no difficulty. Understood, everybody? Yes, student. Are you with me, everybody? Okay, fine.